Oop. Stuff's being a little bit weird here. Little bit of scuffing off. Yeah, I don't know why all this Fuji Tech stuff's being weird. Usually never like this. Hang on. Like everything's breaking at once. Yeah, I don't know why half this stuff is. It's on again. Huh. Don't know why that is doing that. Hello. How's it going? Currently trying to fix the scuff real fast. Yeah, sorry about that. What's up? Yeah, hopefully everybody's having a good day so far. I'd say, I'm having an alright one today, but I'd say I'm still a little sick from over the weekend. I'd say because I ended up catching the vid, and yeah, about to say my voice has been shredded for like the last 3 days or so, but today it's actually been alright. Because I actually ended up resting my voice for like 2 days and stuff, so it actually helped quite a bit. Next sleeping stream, let's go. Yeah, let's say let's go. Ah! If I don't create some negative fucking ASMR here by jamming my camera into the into the microphone. I'm really bad at this, by the way. Always make sure you take care of yourself. Yeah, I've been taking like really good care of myself and stuff. I'd say I even painted my nails for the stream. I'd say I painted them like mint green. I'd say to match my sleeves and all that as well too. So yeah, so I thought I'd do like sort of like a low impact, at least on my voice, like low impact stream. So honestly, having sort of like a chill stream, um, sort of worked out for my benefit because I didn't know I was gonna get sick. But yeah, I'll say I got some mint dragon shields for my friend's shop because he owns a shop like pretty close to me, and that's where I usually go for all of my IRL magic stuff as well too. A little bit of peelies. Yeah. Little bit of peely. Like, oh my god. I'm not late, you're late. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, see if that's not picking up in the background, like all the laundry crapola. Okay, apparently it isn't, so I think we're good for right now until the until the washer decides to self-disintegrate. But yeah, this is for my Prosper Tomebound deck that I'm gonna stream on Hiro Hitsuki's Spellground game, or Spell Table game, sorry. Spellground's the map, but Spell Table's the app for physical magic, but it's for webcam as well too, so you can play Commander or whatever format of magic that you want. Um, over the interwebs, which I think is really cool. I think they mostly did that during COVID for a lot of their qualifiers and stuff. But yeah, I think like it's really cool that I got invited by somebody just to play Magic and stuff as well too. That isn't like within like my normal Magic circle. Because yeah, about to say apparently they're like a pretty well known, I guess. Like that's not the gloat or anything. I think it's just like a really cool thing. Is that Magic? Yeah, I'd say it is Magic the Gathering. I'd say that's for the Commander format. And if you guys are interested in a deck list, I think I can pin it real fast. Hang on just a second. Alright, so I have the deck list for the whole entire deck in my Mox field, and that is the deck that I'm going to be using for this Thursday. I'd say if everything permits as well too, so I'd say, because I've actually been feeling a lot better for today than I have for the last few days and stuff, so hopefully we can keep up with that trend. Yeah, but nice. Is there any archetypes in that game? Yes, but there's that scared me so bad. Thanks for the follow. Nothing like jump scare ASMR. I forgot it was still that loud. Oh well, it's gonna be a meme for this. It's gonna be meme for the stream, just like out of nowhere. Is that? But that's just gonna be the one. Might have to turn that down quite a bit. There you go. Now that isn't gonna terrify anybody that's gonna that's gonna come back and watch this. It's just gonna be the one. Goblins helping strong together if there's an archetype. I am intrigued by it. Yeah, I mean, there's creature types. Um, more or less, like that's like if you want to go for more archetypal. But mostly it's just like card type and creature type. There really isn't a hard set archetype. If there's archangels, I'd be intrigued. You would be very much intrigued in a set called Innistrad, because Innistrad has the most abundant amount of angels, and the angels are badass because that's where you get to see Avacyn and Sigarda and all the really badass angels in there. And Avacyn was created basically by pure magic by a vampire overlord, which is freaking amazing. Yeah. And goblins healthy strong together. Oh yeah, goblins are really good as well too. But yeah, Astra, like there's a bunch of angels in Magic the Gathering. I used to be a Blue Eyes main and had my Yu-Gi-Oh deck, but that was a while ago. Yeah, I used to play quite a bit of Yu-Gi-Oh way back when as well too, but yeah, that was like whenever I sort of took it a little bit seriously as well too. I'm gonna move these tokens out of the way. Oh yeah, I have some tokens that I made for this as well. Since this is Prosper Dragons, let's say I have Trogdor, have this little guy, and this guy is inspired by like a very cracked out Perry the Platypus. So yeah, I'd say I have my Krinko deck with like some art proxies that I made in there, but that's like across the room, and I'd have to move this whole entire table because this table's currently like taking up half, like not half the room, but it's like pretty much like taking up a majority of the space right now. Yeah, and how I usually sleep is pretty haphazard. Usually I just sort of kind of just rip them out. There's like not like actually rip them out, but like um I like take them halfway out, I'd say, and then do it simultaneously together. But since it's more chill stream and I'm not doing it at like a LGS or a store, but I'd say I'm not really worried about brevity's sake. But yeah, with this deck I have like a pretty high land count for a commander deck. The reason being, because of Prosper Tome Bound's effect, you get to exile a card from the top of your library, and so you may play that card from exile, and whenever you do play a card from exile, you get to generate a treasure token, which generates you more mana. Hey, what's up, Andre? Would cards be cheaper or expensive because Yu-Gi-Oh is expensive for just one TCG? Um, Magic can be as cheap or as expensive as you want it to be. Um, a lot of really good cards and a lot of really good standard decks are extremely cheap. Um, but not to say that every single option is cheap. Cheap, but the number one thing about Magic is they print so many cards that a lot of effects overlap where you have redundancy. So you might have budget options to cards, and that's why I've been starting to make videos of budget options for like big money cards and stuff, like the one that I did for Cyclonic Rift. Cyclonic Rift is like a $30 card, but there's like a whole bunch of like mass board bouncing like instants and sorceries out there that aren't Cyclonic Rift that get slept on. Um I'd say I think that are just like not even a fraction, like a decimal of the price. I mean, technically you can do fraction decimal, but whatever. Um, I'd say whatever description you want. I'd say it's very very minuscule with a lot of the cards. I'd say built a squirrel deck and it plays really well. Hey, I'd say squirrels are really cool. My friend that owns the shop I was talking about runs a squirrel deck. I'd say squirrels are really based as well too. I love squirrels. Bloomborough released a holy shit ton of squirrels, and honestly a lot of the squirrel support was really good, especially Bloodroot Apothecary. That was like the best like anti-treasure or the anti like artifact sack decks. A lot of the stuff from like the last few sets and all that sort of gets nerfed a little bit from it, or if anybody is running Smothering Tithe and stuff, I'd say they just get nerfed a little bit more. Love you, Baba. I love you too. But but yeah, I think scrolls are just really neat as well too. I'm not particularly a mono green player. Um, Honestly, if I were to play anything with green, it'd either be blue or blue white to play Bant, because like I'm a very big proponent of dual colors. I love building in dual colors. The only oh, Seed Miser. Oh, yeah. I'd say cuz Seed Miser, like that was the I know she was Golgari, but oh my gosh, it's like her, and I'd say you pair. Her with like Yigra for like a pretty nasty combo as well too. I'd say Yigra is probably my favorite commander out of that whole entire set for how nuts it is. Like Yigra story, like honestly, if Nadu wasn't printed in that set, I'd say, oh, thank you for the bits. Thank you for the bitties. But yeah, that dude's like super busted as well too. Gets so much card advantage off of self-targeting because all you have to do is get a 0 mana cost like equipment and just keep equipping it on and off over it again, and then you just draw out your whole entire library and put you basically put every single land out to the battlefield. So if you have Lotus Cobra or Raging Behemoths or anything like that, I'd say you can basically just flat out your whole entire deck, get a whole bunch of triggers with either Momi or Vig or Tatiova as well too. I'd say the card was just straight busted. I don't see how that type of card can go past R&D. It's like they already made Chulane, they already made Keenan. About to say they know that these type of cards were problematic in the formats and people complained about them. Because I used to play CDH with Chulane, and oh my god, that was like the least fun format for anybody to play. About to say for either competitive Magic or competitive Commander or just casual. Like nobody would want to play against you. That's why I just sold that deck. Well, not the only reason why I sold that deck, but that was like probably one of the main cruxes of me like selling that deck as well too. It's like yeah, I really need the money at the time, but I also really wanted to have a solid play group as well too to still play with and not piss off. And that's not probably good, but I want to try my Obeka Time Splitter Initiative deck. I mean, I'd say I feel like Obeka, like being able to end, because Obeka is able to just end the turn at any point. So basically, any ability on the stack basically fizzles, I believe. So I could see how that can be like relatively annoying, but I don't think that's as annoying as like being able to not play the game like at all from like somebody playing solitaire essentially. I'd say not the other Becca that gives you multiple upkeeps. I mean, okay, but I'd say, I mean, having multiple upkeep triggers and all that is like really good, but I don't think it's like outright busted or like outright unfair compared to like a lot of CDH type decks or commanders. Because with Chulane, it's just like, oh, I don't care if you have like upkeeps. Like I can play on either my turn or your turn and completely just win on any turn. Because as long as I have like my whole entire board state, like I like with Chulane, especially the Chulane deck that I had back then, I'd say I could have been like, okay, cool. So the white main line that I have has flash, and I have like all of my untapped triggers on your turn, and I have intruder alarm, and I have a Lorne and all this other crap in there that gives me a lot of stuff. Oh no, it's not good because I'm just going deeper into a dungeon. Yeah. Yeah, I love playing like sort of really janky decks nowadays. I've been trying to play a little bit more Arena and Brawl because I tried to play in it today, and for some reason my external hard drive that I keep my games on keeps disconnecting. So I really don't know like why it's sort of kind of doing that. as I keep doing this sort of kind of like fast. I'm trying to slow down a little bit at least. But like a lot of the oh my gosh, I just forgot the name of the set. The Thunder Junction stuff looked really cool. Honestly, I wish I was like sort of like in a good enough spot at that time to get into Thunder Junction. I'd say that, or I'd say because I got out of Magic around was it Crimson Hunt or whatever, because I had to sell everything. But then I recently got back into it. Now that I have like a little bit more time now. Don't have a lot more time, but I at least have like a little bit to myself now. I'd say, and that's like gold to me. I'd say at least having like a little bit of time to myself, because I love spending time with like my family and stuff, and like I'd say, and then like I actually do enjoy like sort of kind of the job that I have, because I'll like a lot of my like really cool friends and I like work together and stuff. But other than that, it's just like I'd say I do like to enjoy like my hobbies and stuff, and like cards have been like probably my longest hobby outside of I'd say outside of like D&D and stuff. I'd say because I played Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, um I'd say, and but I'd say I haven't played Magic longer than like D&D, but I think I've stayed more consistent with Magic a lot more with D&D. And like the state of D&D right now is just absolutely abhorrent as well, unfortunately. Because I think the only thing that Wizards really has going for right now is Magic. Because I really don't think the sales for the new book's gonna do too hot. Because I think Phoebe Baines said it like really well. D&D nowadays is much more of a lifestyle and more of like a trend rather than like an actual like playable game. Which I like. I still somewhat agree with that. I feel like there's other aspects to it that a lot of people really enjoy. Because 5th edition like got a lot of people into the game. I'd say I always wanted to try D&D, but I could never find folks to do it with. But I'd say I'm trying to get back into DMing and to actually get a group together, but it's just like trying to knowing whether or not I have time in the future for it, or knowing whether or not if I'd say basically whether or not if like people are gonna stay consistent with it as well too, like consistently showing up, consistently like participating and stuff as well too. Like it's a lot to try to keep it together. I'd say if what my friends have said to do DM, I'd say could be quite the task. It can be. For me, like I think the biggest task was it wasn't necessarily preparing, but trying to make sure like everybody's sort of like on the same boat, on the same page, shows up consistently, about saying no that everybody's respecting everybody else's space and time and effort as well too, because a lot of people are sacrificing their time and their free time and their time to do other things to come together and play a social game. D&D is a social game, and you really do need to, you know, pay mind that like you need to be like conductive, you know, and you need to be like productive as well too. Excuse me, I was sipping tea to participate in that, because it is a team game, I'd say, because you can't have like constant Mary Sue's trying to run solo into dungeons and stuff as well too. It's because I think the pandemic really sort of honed my skills as a DM, because DMing online was like the Wild West for me. It was just so nuts, because there's like so many different kinds of people out there that are like, a lot of them were really good and really chill, but you sort of had the outliers where you just sort of had you sort of had, you know, sort of players that sort of at two spectrums as well too. One that really wanted to throw a wrench into stuff because they could, because they wanted to mess with the game and stuff, because they think that's what's fun, and they've read like a whole bunch of, you know, D&D, you know, funny moments or whatever, where they had the haha over the DM and stuff, and just take that as like a style of playing D&D, but it, like, nobody thinks it's funny. Or the one that tries to hijack the story or hijack the narrative or the moment because it's not something that they want or whatnot, or it's because I think the best thing as a session zero, I'd say, to make sure that everybody's comfortable with what they're playing, like who they're playing with, what the story is about and what the story contains and stuff. Because I think my biggest problem, and it sounds like sort of, I don't know, it sounds sort of kind of like a boomer complaint, but I feel like, you know, because I really do feel like people not wanting stuff in the game for themselves individually, knowing that they've joined a campaign that somebody else wrote, is like sort of kind of selfish in a sense, especially if you talked about what was in the campaign and what was expected and all that. Because now it's just like, now that you're pulling out, or now that you're sort of kind of like throwing a fit about what something is, like sort of in the context of the game and all that, that doesn't have like any real like overall meaning, rather than to drive the story or to paint, you know, a villain or something, that kind of way and stuff. Because there's some stuff that's just over the line that I won't include in events, or in events or games or anything else like that. But other than that, but I'd say if it's agreed upon and everybody else agrees and stuff and is okay with what's going on in the game, I'd say I feel like that should stay consistent throughout the game, I'd say. But not to say that X cards or session zeros and all that are, you know, shouldn't happen or whatever. But I feel like nothing beats like a discussion with you, with your players, players with players, and players with DMs and all that, because it is constant. It is a constant thing with communication. But I'd say you just have to stay consistent with communication. But yeah, it can be a real juggling act as well too. I'd say it's not the easiest thing in the world, because you just have to keep everybody happy. Not only that, you have to keep yourself happy with DMing. I feel like that was the biggest struggle with me towards the end of like me DMing and LGSs and stuff, is I just wasn't really happy with it necessarily, because I kept getting invited, or it wasn't even necessarily LGSs. It was mostly event organizers not really advertising the event that they want me to run for them, or that they wanted me to write content for them to be able to have the event there, and then like nobody would show up. So I'd waste like my time, my gas, and like everything just to have like two people showed up. But I had like two level 10 players, like just out of like the luck of the draw, beat Cerberix together. It was like a cleric and a fighter, but the cleric had protection from good and evil, and that spell's a piece of shit. I don't care. as a DM. I'll say having stuff that's evil aligned trying to fight stuff. It's like, oh yes, but I'd say obviously the people or the creatures that are trying to kill you are evil, and the whole entire synopsis of the session is that you're trying to stop something that is evil. Having a spell that's just like, oh, anything that's evil just gets a disadvantage if they try to attack you or anything. Let's say, yeah, because I'd get like 18s and like ones and threes and stuff, and I would not hit a single player with any ability or spell that the Cerberix was casting or anything else like that. So they raffle stomped the thing like humiliatingly bad. I even used legendary actions and stuff for it to try to save it. Didn't matter. But I'll say I think I got better rolls trying to, like, honestly, if it was the other way around, if it was advantage, it would have been like the biggest freaking W. But I'm not the type of DM that's like DM versus player. If anything, I love to enhance player experience by allowing them to do very cool things in game, because the rule of cool is something that is really memorable as well too. And I use it like, I'll use it like extremely sparingly. I'd say there's limits to it. Like I really want things to go out of hand and snowball. So I mean, it's like as long as you keep sort of a tight leash on it, I don't think it's too much of a big deal. Oh, Warstone. Always an interesting card, Warstone. But no, it's like I really do need to get back into D&D again. I really do miss it. I really do miss playing as well too, because we were in the midst of like a pre-written campaign as well too, and I really did miss the miss having friends around the table and stuff for that. But yeah, I'd say stuff happens. But yeah. Sorry, checking messages and stuff. Something popped up. Huh, that was really cool. Sorry, I got distracted for a little bit. I think that's a bad thing about having two monitors now. I'm just like, ooh, what's that? Like, what's this shiny thing? But, excuse me. But, I really do love D&D. I really love the D&D Magic set as well, too. It's so cool. That's actually where this guy came from. And my friend recently had a lot of his stuff stolen because somebody broke into his car and stole his magic collection. So I actually gave him the treasure token out of the set that I used to use for this deck, because he collected a lot of tokens as well too. It's like a really nice foil token. I have no idea how much it was, and it didn't matter because I felt like that Jester was a lot more important than, price and value on cards and stuff, because, having your shit stolen sucks, and coming from somebody that's basically not actually having it stolen from you, but essentially having it stolen from you, like your whole entire like collection that you've been building for a while, and then it's just like you sell it to try to help somebody make a payment on something, and then they just pocket the money and then lose out on the payment anyways. It just, ugh, oh, it always feels bad. But but it could be you know, a lot worse. I'd say I could, about to say I could definitely um have not gotten back into Magic at all or anything else like that. I love to see Rakdos Giant for those token decks. Yeah, that's so good too. I'd say either exiling a graveyard, destroying an artifact, or dealing. I'd say dealing a target for one creature target opponent controls or to its controller. Oh yeah, Rakdos Charming somebody that's making a lot of ridiculous like creature tokens and stuff as well too. Say it's such a good card. But yeah, I sort of made this deck sort of weird because initially it was just going to be like a Cascade deck. And I think I have like one or two discovery cards in here. The one discovery card that I really want, Chahil, is really expensive. I think at the beginning of your upkeep or after your draw, you get to discover 5, which is really insane. Especially for like a passive effect for Prosper, just being able to just um go through the top of your deck till you hit like I think it's a 4-drop, I believe. That's a because I think Discover is like Cascade, but it's like better. It was like better to some extent. But say when I go across Hidden Volcano, I'll have to see um the specifics of Discover. That's somebody that swung out with his 1 million tokens before playing the pod, then bowing down to them in gratitude. Whenever I infinited with Krinko Mob Boss, whenever I had that deck like running, excuse me, super well, I used to have a shoebox filled with Goblin cards. And I was the obnoxious enough Goblin player to, as soon as I declared infinite, I'd dump out the box of Goblin tokens all over the board. It'd just be raining goblins. But I stopped doing that. It got a little out of hand and obnoxious. And I recently upgraded my Krinko deck with some additional like secondary commanders in it. I think I added Legionnaire War Boss and Krinko 10 Street Denizen. Or 10 Boss at 10 Street or something. I forgot what the specific card is. But the only real commander I had in there was Krinko himself. And it was sort of annoying to just have Krinko just get constantly bins by kill spells and removal and all that as well. So I was just like, I really need some like secondary firepower in here because with all my decks, I really do love running secondary commanders. Especially if my primary commander is sort of offline for it getting too much commander tax and such. Especially for Nev Mizzet. I think I have Real Everwise, I have Locust God in there, I have Sapphire, Thunder Conductor, Nev Mizzet, Firemind as well too, and like a few others well too. And Boral, Chief of Compliance, I think that's the other commander that I have in there as well. But I love running just sort of like a bunch of side strategies that I can have in a deck as well too. Prosper is like, it's either one or two. Either I get a bunch of artifacts and just win off of Hellkite Tyrant, or I just do a whole bunch of damage with either cards like Reckless Fireweaver or Mirkwood Bats, Marionette Master. I'd say there's a bunch of cards that just trigger off of either artifacts entering or getting sacrificed and stuff. Or passionate archaeologist. Passionate archaeologist is one of my favorite cards in here because you just deal damage equal to the CMC of the exiled cards that you played. So you can play a card like I just fevered, or is it fevered suspicions? Yeah, actually not fevered suspicions. Yeah, it is fevered suspicions. I was thinking of fevered visions for a second. But fevered suspicions is like a 7 or 8 cost sorcery, I believe, and you get to exile the top of your opponent's libraries until they hit an instant or sorcery, and you get to cast those for free. And you basically get 3 free spells that you're able to damage anything on the board or directly to your opponent's face, because it's targeted, it isn't to each. So you could throw all the damage at one opponent if you really wanted to, or some problematic cards on the board. I'd say then, since it has rebound as well too, you get to play itself, which is another 7 or 8 damage, and then you get 3 more spells on top of that. So it's really cool. Also, Tally's casually in here as well. Love a Tally. But I also have a bunch of exiling cards in here too. I used to have what was the card? I'd say I think it's still in here. Yeah. I used to have this monstrosity in the deck, Knowledge Pool, because if you play this with Share the Spoiled, you essentially lock out the game, apparently. Because, yeah, I was about to say, whenever a player casts a spell from his or her hand, that player exiles it, then if that player does, they may cast another non-land card. They exile the Knowledge Pool. So basically, so essentially you can't really play, about to say, because like the interaction was like, it's like you can't play cards from the hands or whatever, you can only play them from exile, but since you can't, I'd say, I don't know, it was like some weird replacement effect that you can't do it, so that's why I just didn't really want to play Knowledge Pool. Because I forgot the specifics of it, but there's like a way that it locks it out specifically with the wording of Share the Spoils. That and just Knowledge Pool is just too much, like it's too much of like a hassle to run like Knowledge Pool and to have games be like productive and fun. Yeah, I think we're about halfway through the deck now. Last act will always be really good. I also wish they would reprint some more like cool cards for either Secret Lair or for like core sets or like big money. Like I'm about to say, I wouldn't say necessarily just to put like busted cards back in the standard rotation. I think I'd much rather have it as a Secret Lair, but having like stuff like Dockside just like reprinted again as well too, because Dockside's just so inaccessible. Because I think it got released for like Ravnica again, I'd say as like, or it got reprinted in Ravnica, I think reprinted in Exelon, and then its original printing in its Commander deck. But other than that, it's still like a $60 to $80 card, and it's like absolutely busted. If anything, like if I were to agree with any card that on anybody's list to get banned from Commander outside of like Nadu, um, I think I'd say I definitely would consider Um, I think I definitely consider Dockside Extortionist for like a straight hit. As either that or a Smothering Tide, because just being able to get like a whole bunch of advantage, excuse me, off of just drawing is sort of nuts. Ristic Study isn't necessarily as bad because you sort of have the option to play around it. Because he could still do like damage and stuff and sort of be able to avoid it by just drawing and just playing. I think about saying just playing sort of like minimally around it, um but stuff like Smothering Tide you really can't. I really love the art for Bedevil. Ed McCannon. Honestly, like I really wish I got the Sid McCannon secret lair. One of my friends did, and I think got like a signed mat with Bedeviled on it. I'd say it's just so cool. I think there is a whole entire documentary on him as well too on YouTube called The Nightmare Artist. I'd say I will have to search that up here soon as well too. But yeah, hopefully the sound quality is okay for everybody. I'm not being too loud or anything. Or I am loud. Because I don't want to like demolish anybody's ears in the in the chill stream and stuff. Be like, oh no. Dante, Lord of Luxury. I'm really glad he got like more cards and more art as well too. He's just like such a cool looking card. Used to hate playing against him, now I love playing with him, so. I'd say stupid thunderstorm knocking out my internet for a second. Yeah, but I'd say it's been storming like crazy everywhere. From Hellkite. Also just like a really cool card. Honestly, I need another copy of this for Nev Mizzet, to be honest. Because whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create like an XX token with flying and haste. Like, that's just super good as well too. Better than Tolerant Sky Summoner, to be honest. In my opinion. For like very rushed down decks and stuff as well too. I think this might be from Baldur's Gate as well too. It might be. I don't know. Actually, I don't think so. I think that might be called Heim, I believe. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Reckless Endeavor. This is probably one of my favorite cards actually out of the whole entire the set as well too. I'd say Reckless Endeavor. Roll 2d12s and then take each result and each result in either damage or treasure that you gain. Because I love doing like low damage, high treasures a majority of the time. Because there was times where I would just wipe people's boards and got a whole bunch of treasure. As a bunch of people would have like a bunch of 1 or 2 drop creeps, and I'd still have Prosperous. Like Prosper has like a 4 toughness, so excuse me. So yeah, all the advantage getters and all that, get on out of here. Also, cards like this, I have like 3 other cards in here. I think cranial plating and cranial ram. Also really good in this deck as well too. Ooh. I have to pop a cough drop. There we go, that should be better after a while. But yeah, it's sort of kind of been sucking being sick because I absolutely hate being sick. Feels like I can get absolutely zero stuff done being sick. Like, even as a kid, I just absolutely hate getting sick. It's like, oh yeah, you get the day off of school. It's like, cool. Like, I get to stay home and be miserable still, like being sick. Not to say that I'd never, like, or like, quote unquote, pretended to be sick or whatever to just not be at school. But I was saying, like, more often than not, like, I was actually sick because, like, yeah, I actually liked hanging out with my friends and stuff, and the only time I got to hang out with them was at school because I lived like in a rural area. So yeah, that, and I didn't have a, you know, obviously being like preteen, like early teens and all that too. You don't have a car, so it's like sort of hard. Arcane Signet. I really need to see if they have a foil Arcane Signet. That's a pretty card. Godric Crown Scourge. Sorry, that was like obnoxious while trying to move a cough drop in my mouth and stuff. Honestly, Eldraine had like so many bops for Commander in general. I mean, they advertised the Brawl set with the whole entire set. It makes sense. Dying Light has been fun so far. The first playthrough, that's awesome. Yeah, I still need to boot it up and stuff. Honestly, I need to see what's wrong with my hard drive as well too. Apparently, you see something real fast. Okay, it was just freaking me out for a second because I thought it just randomly died for a second. Oh well. Huh. Oh well. Don't know what was up with that. It's like I didn't see the light on for it. I'm like, oh, there's no way that this thing's already going out. Because I'd be mildly irritated if the very expensive hard drive that I bought went out. That's why I need to upgrade on my PC anyways. Yeah, but it seemed like every single time that I booted up Arena today to try to play, I'd say it just wasn't having it. Like I'd hear the Windows chime for it go off, and then like my game would crash because I was about to win like a pretty like fun game of Brawl that I had with like another control player, and the game just absolutely just sort of just just off. I'm like, okay. It's not a memory issue with the with the hard drive because it's like a terabyte. Because either it's like the connector with the it's either the connector with the drive, it's a driver with it, or autoplay being dumb, or power saving mode for the USB, which I went through and changed the power saving settings, and I turned autoplay off for that device. So I don't know what else is going on for it. It could be because I was preemptively setting up for stream and stuff, so I have a little bit more stuff plugged in. That might be a thing, but I really hadn't no problem other than that with it, like beforehand. So I don't know. Computers do be weird sometimes. Sorry, I didn't know which in this sleeve gonna be in. Honestly, this almost reminds me of Hatsune Miku for a little bit, which is sort of kind of weird timing to have like mint nail polish and mint colored sleeves for the week that like Brazilian Miku would like sort of hit the Twitter sphere and stuff. Painted Peak, really pretty card. I really do love the suspend cards and all that from Time Spiral. That's a really cool mechanic. Because I have a lot of the suspend cards in here, and having Cascade with some of the suspend artifacts, you could just basically play them for free. So always really nice getting like a free Soul Talisman or a free Single Lotus Bloom. Or Lotus Blossom. Lotus Bloom's the no, I'm thinking of Lotus Petal. I used to have a bunch of Lotus Petals. Also really cool Dungeons and Dragons card. Let's say being able to buff your stuff for each mana spent on them with treasure. Plus they generate a treasure itself. Treasure is such a good mechanic, and they just now recently thought it was a good idea to make treasure come in tapped. I'm like, yeah, hindsight's real 2020, ain't it? I really need to pick up Hell to Pay with this deck as well too, so I can target like a 1/1 creature and pay like a massive X cost and basically kill something. Then with the exceeded amount, you get a whole bunch of tapped treasures and such. Really cool. Especially if you have something like uh Apex of Power and stuff in here, which I have that in here. Having that's really cool. For a stupid, about to say, I had 4 Lotus Petals for a stupid Popper deck. Like, would that even be Popper, or is Popper just like commons and stuff? Because my like notion of Popper might be like jaded and warped and stuff. Because I thought like Popper was just like turbo budget or something like that for some reason. Oh, it's just all commons. Okay, so it doesn't matter price point or anything else like that. Oh yeah. Yeah, I keep getting that. Oh, I know what I was thinking of. I was thinking of like Penny Popper. I think that's what it's called. Like, or something like that. It's like Popper, but it's like turbo, like dirt cheap. But yeah, Lotus Petal as Lotus Petal as a common is just wild to me. That and having those with like what? Oh my gosh, I just forgot the card. Crime Novelist. That'd be really cool with Crime Novelist. Because I'd eventually like to get into other formats as well too. I really want to get into Oathbreaker and Pioneer. Pioneer was really fun because I got to play a few games of that. I really love Is It Phoenix. Obviously, I love Is It Phoenix for nondescript reasons. But yeah, I'd say other formats of Magic's really cool. I feel like that's what's really kept the game alive for years as well too, outside of standard, because there's just so much around it as well too. I mean, you can argue the same thing with Pokemon as well too, but Pokemon has so much other media out there that I feel like you could find your right niche for anybody to enjoy Pokemon, even at sort of like as an outside spectator as myself, because I'm not like super enthralled by Pokemon, but I love the characters and stuff, and the Pokemon themselves. But you know, I'm not like an aficionado of like Pokemon and stuff. Like, would I open and play Pokemon cards, you know, again and stuff? Oh yeah, definitely, in a heartbeat. Um, I'd say if I had time for League and all that, I definitely do League. Like, I missed doing Pokemon League. It was actually so much fun. Um, that, you know, is like amazingly cheap. I don't think Pokemon's as cheap now as it was since after the pandemic with all the scalpers and whatnot and stuff, but it is what it is. Like, it's bound to, like, scalpers will find any like niche and market to sort of sink their claws into to make a quick buck off of just having a whole bunch of liquidated capital to try to get to try to buy the means to supply and demand. Like, it just happens. Like, it happens in the collectibles market. It happens I'd say it happens in stocks. It happens in real estate. I'd say it just happens everywhere. Don't even get me started on Airbnbs. I'd say don't even get me started on like title liens and stuff and all that bullshit. That like yeah, I'm just gonna stop at that because that's just gonna head into political territory and stuff on like, but it's like nothing new. But yeah, Fevered Suspicion is such a good card. Plus, it has a Beholder in it. I think a Zombie Beholder as well too. And I love it because like Beholders can be like mega paranoid and stuff as well sometimes. It's free real estate. Essentially, because the way that some like quote unquote self entrepreneurs and stuff, or self made entrepreneurs and stuff, is they literally, I'd say they literally get so much interest off of loans and then take out another loan to get another property and then get like lien loans on how much debt that they own on the other one. So since they're in so much debt from another one, they like the government can't technically do anything about it, so they just keep buying more and more properties and stuff. It's like a weird chain link sequence and stuff of like, yeah, I don't know. It's sort of weird. It's like you pay so much on a mortgage, then you have like so much means to take out additional loans for it to get other property, and you just like snowball it. And that's why these like uber rich people just lose everything, especially in like a divorce or whatever, because it's like if it's premarital property, I'd say, and you have a whole bunch of houses and like your partner doesn't and all that, and you have to split 50-50. Guess what? Let's say the house that you just were building income off of to pay for your other properties and stuff is basically gone. So it's just like a domino effect that they basically lose everything else afterwards. It's wild. But look at all these leaves. Yeah, these were all. Yeah, because these are like all glossy and stuff as well too. Microphone. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Feels sort of weird doing that. I don't know why. Hopefully it wasn't like abrasive. Like super abrasive. You glossy sleeves. I got these by mistake like 4 years ago, and I still get shit about them. You know what? Ban. Don't care. No, just kidding. But nah, I played my deck for the first time at my friend's shop in like a while, and that was like the first thing people commented is like, "Are those gloss sleeves?" Like, yes. Honestly, gloss sleeves are really good for like putting your tokens in to get them out of the deck box easier. Put them in and with cards for trade binders to get them out and pull them out easier in like 5 long tray cardboard boxes to keep your collection in to sort of keep things organized and stuff too. Other than that, gloss sleeves are absolutely atrocious, but I'd say they just look atrocious and scuffed like my god. Like the wear and tear on these. I don't even know if you'll be able to see it, but they're like super scuffed and scratched and stuff. Because in some instances, if it's like scratched up in such a certain way and stuff, I'd say you can even get that penalized as marking for some stores and shit. So, don't mind their look, but I've always knock over my deck when I use it. Yeah, about to say gloss sleeves. Yeah, I'd say super mats can get like really slick unless you've used them for a while. But well, since I'm done sleeving everything, I just want to check chat, check everything else, see if we're running good still. I'd say our bitrate sort of but that's fine. Um, oh yeah, about to say those redeems are off right now since it's a chill stream for right now, Jay. Um, I'd say you can refund that yourself, Jade. Cry about it. That's so mean. I thought, wait, why did that pop up like that? I thought Jay tried to. Okay, no, that was previous. Then why did that pop up now? So weird. I don't know. That's so weird. I don't know. Like my mind or my eyes are playing tricks on me. But yeah, let me get this organized. Because I could probably solitaire like a few hands and stuff. That way I can at least explain some of the strategy and stuff with this deck as well too. I usually keep artifacts and enchantments in the same pile whenever it's organizing time too as well. Because I had to do this type of thing for Kitsuki as well too, because he was like, or his little page was like, well, if you have a Mox field, and you have a list for it, make it here. It's like, I need to make a Mox field anyways, so I end up doing that. Making a Mox field is really fun. Make it a deck list. I used to do a bunch of deck profiles, back in the day for both Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. I used to do a bunch of budget stuff for Yu-Gi-Oh. Same thing with Pokemon as well too. I love doing budget Pokemon decks because one of my favorite ones, what from Sun and Moon, was Nido Queen. Loved running Nido Queen. And that's that there, that right there. I got confused for a second. Confusion. Vandal Blast. Ellie. Well, Fire Weaver. That's it. I didn't see a specific. Oh, because my other half of the deck's over here that I haven't organized yet. Okay. I'm like, where's like my other half of the deck? And I realized I'm just dumb. I'm just mega dumb sometimes. I just have to accept that. Yeah, let me actually be organized for once and less gobblenesque. There we go. Yeah. Also, Steel Hellkite with Mad Gun here is really cool. Okay. And yeah. Probably love Mayhem Devils. This is actually the first card I got gifted back, or gifted to me, ever since coming back into Magic. This one person that I met at LGS was like, hey, if I get this foil one, I'll say, would you want it for your Prosper deck? I'm like, sure. Or if I get foil one for myself, would you want the common one in my deck? I'm like, okay. They're really cool. And Volcano, okay, so Discovery is exile the top cards of your library until you hit a 4 or less mana value, cast it without paying its mana cost, put the rest at the bottom of your library in any order. I mean, it's just another Cascade trigger, really. They're really cool. Passionate Archaeologist is really cool. I actually forgot I had the extended border to this. Gold Talisman, Lotus Bloom. I'd say Craniarium's really good as well too, but I'll explain all the other strategies here in a bit. So let me get everything sort of kind of organized here in sort of decklisty form. But yeah, how are you guys doing so far today? Keep these in the same thing here. These are here. Alright, got those creatures organized. Glad Gabo's back and recovering. Oh, thank you. I'd say I'm glad to be back as well too. Because after last week is a little bit rough. This week's rough, but it's more of like a me being sick thing. I'd rather have that than having like a bunch of stuff just blow up in my face. So if I mute myself or Steam has no audio. Um Honestly, I haven't checked the Steam audio or anything as of recently. Oh, stream has no audio? Yeah, about to say it's just everything's just super quiet. I don't have like music blasting or anything. Yeah, it's just polarizing for my normal content, I think. Because I'm used to having like shit spam every 3 seconds and and all that, but I turned off like all the notifications and stuff for like today and stuff, so and the enchantments from the file. That was supposed to be in the sorcery pile. I'm gonna put that right there in that pile. Because I'm sort of organizing them by like sort of most importance and like the strategy of those. We got those here. I have to go through all these lands. Most are basic in here. I think just having basics is just super undervalued as well too. Like you can't go wrong with them. I do have a reliquary tower in here. Ooh. Alright, I think we might just be about ready for this as well too. Alright, so I'm just gonna do a quick little breakdown of my Prosper Tomebound Dragon deck. I'd say the entire premise of Prosper Tomebound is that with his Mr. Mark Cannon ability, I'd say at the beginning of your end step, you can exile the top card of your library until the end of the turn. Until the end of your next turn, you can play that card. And with the Pact Boon ability with the subtext right here, whenever you play a card from exile, you may create a treasure token, and that's from any source as well too. That's not even just with the ability with Prosper Tomebound. I'll say so things like Apex of Power, or the Spoils, Theater of Horrors, anything else like that, or even Gonti. You get to create a treasure token for that as well too. And since it says play, you can also play lands from the deck as well too, or from the exile, and it'll be able to generate a treasure token just fine as well too. So Prosper's our commander, some of our tokens right here. And we're gonna go with the creature list here first. So first off is gonna be our pingers, or basically what's going to get us the most damage and removal consistently throughout the game. So these are going to be cards that allow us to ping whenever our treasures come into the board, or our sacrifice as well too. So first off with Mirkwood Bats is whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent takes one, so effectively 2 per treasure. Mayhem Devils, whenever a player sacrifices a permanent, Mayhem Devil deals the damage to any target. So basically, if your opponent has treasures as well too, or anything else like that, you can have Mayhem Devil ping damage to it. Marionette Master, I really do love being able to pump up Marionette Master with cards like Cranial Ram, or even with Kiln the Painter as well too, because her ability is whenever an artifact that you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, a target opponent loses life equal to Marionette Master's power. And the thing is about tokens and the rolling with tokens is some people don't realize this, but whenever you sacrifice a token, it hits the graveyard first and then fizzles. So Marionette Master would actually be able to see these treasure tokens hit the graveyard just fine for her effect to trigger off. And Reckless Fireweaver is whenever an artifact you control enters the battlefield, you get to deal 1 damage to each opponent. Because this is more direct, this is more direct. These are our eaches right here. So these two are like more of like direct sources that you can either get a target opponent with. I'd say you can get any target with, so even planeswalkers with this. This is for each opponent, and this is for each opponent. So Mayhem Devils is probably the best bet to put on the battlefield at any point, because you can just nuke any target if you really want to, but the best overall group damage has to be Reckless Fireweaver and Mirkwood Bats for that. Let's say our next ones are going to be our more treasure-oriented creatures. Learning with Gabo, yeah. I'd say first off, it's going to be Madga, sort of our main utility piece of this deck. Other dwarves get +1/+0s whenever a dwarf becomes tapped. You get to create a treasure token. I don't run a whole lot of dwarves in here. I think she might be the only one that I run in here. Sacrifice 5 treasures. You get to search for an artifact or a dragon card, put that onto the battlefield, and then shuffle your library. So basically, you could shuffle out like a lot of boss monsters or very problematic artifacts for your opponent as well too. So realistically, you could get a knowledge pool with Brazen Outlaw as well too. I personally don't play knowledge pool in the deck anymore because it's just unfun for a lot of people. I'd say it's not very fun for me to keep track of like 13 different permanents that exile 13 different things from everybody. So yeah. Zorn, I'd say if you create 1 or more treasures, you create additional treasure instead, or on top of that. Really good for this deck, getting additional triggers. I don't have Academy Manufacturer in here, which I still need to find. Solid Priest Mogus, but so whenever you sacrifice a permanent, he gets a +2 until the end of the turn, so you can pump him up really big. And whenever you sacrifice another creature with his ability, he gets First Strike or enchantment. Kalain, Reclusive Painter, whenever she comes in, you get to create a treasure token, and other creatures that I control get additional 1/1 based off of each treasure I've used to cast that. So you can very much pair that well with the Marionette Master, I'd say, and excuse me, make Marionette Master do a whole bunch of damage. Horde Robber, just a good early game creature to have, being able to deal combat damage to a player in order to create a treasure token. Plus you can pump it with Callan and other effects as well too that you have in the deck. Skullport Merchant, let's say be able to create a treasure token on ETB, and I can sacrifice a treasure with one black and one colorless to be able to draw a card. So pretty good consistent card draw. Alright, so these are going to be our dragons for the deck. I'm about to say, first up is going to be Fire Hellkite, and these are the cards that we're actually looking forward to cheat out with Madga mostly. First one's going to be Fire Hellkite. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, create a 4/4 flying red dragon token. So basically we're going to use this with a lot of our other dragons that we spawn out as well too, especially some of the ones with haste as well, and be able to net board advantage real fast. Hellkite Tyrant, one of our win cons of the deck. Flying Trample, whenever Hellkite Tyrant deals combat damage to target opponent, gain control of artifacts that player controls. And at the beginning of our upkeep, if we own 20 or more artifacts, we win the game. So really cool. Hellkite Igniter, flying in haste, for 1 in red. Hellkite Igniter gains X0 until the end of the turn, where X is the number of artifacts that you control. And since it is a pumpable effect, about to say you're able to do it multiple times, you don't need to tap or anything else with this creature to be able to do it. You just pay 2 and you can do that over and over again. So this with Cranial Ram and a whole bunch of treasures, you can knock out an opponent really fast with it, especially with haste as well. Steel Hellkite, a very scary card to just intimidate people with. Flying with the 2 mana ability, it gets +1 until the end of the turn, not that big of a deal. Or you do its X cost, where you get to destroy each non-land permanent with converted cost X to that controller who's been dealt combat damage by Steel Hellkite. This turn you can only activate it once each turn. So really good with pump abilities and stuff as well too. Really nice. Gadrick the Crown Scourge, flying. I'd say can't attack unless you control 4 or more artifacts. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a treasure token for each non-token creature that's died this turn. They're really good for sacrifice decks as well too. We mostly sacrifice treasures in this deck as well, but if they have any chump blockers or anything, we can net mana. I'd say, or if we have like a board wipe or whatever, and we just kill somebody's board. Mana Form Hellkite, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you get to create an XX flying dragon illusion creature with flying and haste, where X is the amount of mana spent on that spell, which is really cool, and exile that token at the beginning of the next upkeep, so you get to keep it for a while. I'd say really fun without Viral Hellkite, being able to just sort of go off and make a whole bunch of little dragon creatures with a bunch of your cheap spells, and then swing again with the haste tokens, triggering at Viral Hellkite, making more of the larger and more permanent, let's say 6/6 tokens. Dream Pillager, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile that many cards from the top of the library until the end of the turn. You may cast those spells amongst them, let's say amongst those exile cards. So very cool steel card as well too. But yeah, those are it for our dragons. The next one, let's say, I think these are more of our one-offs. So these are more of our exile creatures. These are cards that are going to try to net us the most advantage with our treasure tokens and such as well too. The first one is going to be Wild Magic Sorcerer. Let's say the first spell that we cast each turn from exile has Cascade. Cascade is you basically exile the top of your library until you hit a non-land card that costs less than this card, and then put the rest of those exile cards at the bottom of your library in any order. Let's say then here's more of our adventure cards. So adventures came from Eldraine. You have the split cost, where You could cast it for its adventure cost, for its instant or sorcery ability, then you can cast it as a creature later. So you can actually cast these from exile as well too, since they don't have to be from the hand to cast them, to be able to basically exile. Since exile is more of like a state, it's not a zone. So even if it's in exile, you could still cast it. It's not just indefinitely there, at least for this ability. So Thelmore Knight, basically be able to draw a card and then lose a life just for like a quick little draw. And it's a nice little 1/1 blocker with Death Touch. Order of Midnight, return a creature from your graveyard for its Alter Fate sorcery ability, and then for flying, but say can't block or anything like that, but it's a nice 2/2 for 2. Murderous Rider, with its Swift In, destroy target creature or planeswalker, and then you lose 2 life. Really nice utility removal spell, and it does have lifelink, about say whenever you cast it, and then whenever it dies, you get to put it at the bottom of the library. Really neat. I'd say Bone Crusher Giant, being able to deal 2 to any damage with Stomp without it being prevented is really cool. And when it becomes target with a spell, you basically deal 2 damage to that spell's controller as well too. So really nice. Plus it's a 4/3 for 3. I feel like that's pretty cool. These are more theft cards here. Atali, Primal Storm. Whenever Atali attacks, exile the top card of each player's library. You may cast them without having to pay their mana cost. So really cool, because you don't have to pay them. Gonti, Lord of Luxury, has Death Touch, and whenever Gonti enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of any player's library, exile one of them face down, and then put the rest at the bottom of the library in random order. You may look at that card at any time as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend any mana, though it were any type to cast that spell. So really cool. I don't think he has to be on the board to be able to cast that card as well too. So as long as it's exiled, because that's sort of the wording there. As long as it remains exiled, you'd be able to play it. So still think it's a really cool include for a theft card. I apologize for anybody if I already said this, but your nails look good. Oh, thank you. I'd say I thought they would thought they look really nice with the sleeves that I have. And I apologize for my voice if it is getting rough. I'd say I'm still trying to take it very easy with my voice, because I am sick still. That's what I was thinking, how much they match. They actually match my backpack as well too. I didn't realize how much like all this just matches. It's like, is this just gonna be my aesthetic? Just like very minty green Nico-esque, like goth, whatever. Alright, so moving on, these are more of our suspend spells here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'd say, yeah, 6 suspend spells for instants and sorceries. Our first reoccurring suspend spell is Rousing Reframe. Basically, a reoccurring Jesky's Will. It adds 1 red for each card in a target opponent's hands, and I don't lose that in between steps and in phases. And you get to exile it again with 3 time counters, so it just keeps coming back and forth. You get a treasure token from it, you target your opponent with it, I'd say, and it goes again. Unless it gets countered, and then that's just Tragic the Gathering. I love that phrase, Tragic the Gathering. But Static Beauty, I'd say exile the top 3 of your library. You may play those cards until the end of the turn, and you may put 4 time counters on each of those that has Suspend. So basically, the ones that have Suspend, you can exile them, and you don't have to play them right away. So if you accidentally exile Rousing Reframe, you can just exile it to the side, and then it will automatically get played for until like turn 7 or whatever. which is sort of kind of wild. It's like wait until turn 7 for that, but I mean for late game it won't be too bad because a lot of players will have a lot of cards in their hands. So yeah. Curse of Cabal, like one of the cards that people don't pay into the most, surprisingly. Target player sacrifices half their permanents he or she controls, rounded down, for suspend for 2, I'd say, which is crazy. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, if Curse of Cabal is suspended, that player may sacrifice a permanent, and if they do, they get to put additional 2 time counters on top of Curse of Cabal. Very nice card. Living End, suspend 3. But I'd say I forgot to mention the other card suspend cost as well too. That probably would have helped. But each player exiles creature cards from the top of their library, or not top of their library. Each player exiles creature cards from their graveyard, then sacrifices all creatures that they control. Then they put all the creatures exiled that way onto the battlefield. So really cool, just recursion card. Just basically gets everything off the board that's problematic, and then whatever's in the grave that's less problematic, that's sort of, you know, the board state that you sort of have to deal with. Wheel of Fate, basically a Wheel of Fortune, but it has 4 suspend. And Arcblade, about to say another recurring damage piece, not too bad of a card. Deals 2 damage to any target, exile, and then you can exile Arcblade with 3 time counters on it. So you can either cast it, but say if you really need it, or you could just cast it for its suspend and then it'll just recur itself. Same thing with Rousing Reframe. Excuse me. Right, and I think these are only 2 Cascade cards, about say for our sorceries, and these are pretty much one the same cards. One just costs more than the other, but Throes of Chaos and Into the Time Vortex, they both have Cascade and a Rebound. Just one you can Cascade for 3, and the other one you can Cascade for 4, and that's basically it for those cards as well. And these are exile from the top of the library-esque cards here. So first one is Apex of Power, and it's a sorcery. Let's say it's a hefty 10 cost, but you exile the top 7 of your library until the end of the turn. You may cast spells amongst them, and if the spell was cast from your hand, you may exile, or you may add 10 of any 1 color of mana. So really nice. Commune with Lava, it's X and double red. Exile the top X, excuse me, X amount of cards on the top of your library until then your next turn. You may play those cards, so it's nice to have like two turns as a buffer to be able to play any of those cards as well. So really nice. Ignite the Future, exile the top 3 cards of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play those cards. If the spell was cast from your graveyard, you may play any of those cards without paying the mana cost, which is really nice. Even though the buyback cost or the flashback cost is 8, I mean, being able to play any 3 cards that are basically omniscience then is like really good. Was staged. It's one of our cards with a spectacle cost, meaning if a opponent has lost life this turn, you can basically cost it or cast it for a little bit cheaper. Then you exile the top cards of your library until the end of the turn. You may play those cards. So nice little exile thing. You find some prisoners from Boulder's Gate. I'll say you get to choose one of 2 choices. Break their chains, destroy target artifacts, so nice artifact removal. Or you can interrogate them, exile the top 3 cards of your opponent's library, You may choose one of them until the end of your next turn. You may cast a card, and you may spend any mana if it were any color to cast it. So basically, instant speed Lord of Gonti for like one less card. Nice, really nice card to include. Honestly, just a really nice red instant to use in general. Okay, so these are our rebound cards here. So 2 of our rebound cards. This is one of my favorite ones to use in the deck. Is Fevered Suspicion. Each opponent exiles the top of card of their library until they hit a non-land card. You may play any of those cards without paying their mana cost, and the rest of the cards are just exiled, not returned to the bottom of your library, not shoveled in. I'd say nothing. Like, they're just exiled. About to say, which makes this card really annoying for some people, because if they have a very low like instant spell sorcery count in their deck, about to say they get really aggravated with this, because you're able to play this twice effectively because it has a rebound cost as well too. And Consuming Vapors, target player sacrifices creature, and you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. So if there's a big thing on the board that you really want to get rid of, you play this, and then it gets rebounded, then you get to snag another thing and gain some more life. So very nice. I think this is more of our removal here. We got Terminate, destroy target creature, can't be regenerated. Bedevil, destroy target artifact, creature, or planeswalker, which is very nice. Chaos Warp, target you get to target a permanent opponent or anybody controls, put it into their library, reveal the top card, and then you whew, excuse me. Let's say then you get to shuffle up the library, look at the top card, and then if it's a permanent card, you get to put it onto the battlefield. Another bit of removal is as my voice is getting a little bit rougher here. Hellish Rebuke. Until the end of the turn, permanents your opponent's control gain this keyword whenever this permanent deals damage to to the player who cast Hellish Rebuke. Sacrifice this permanent, or sacrifice this permanent. Then you lose 2 life. If they have a big board that they're trying to swing at you with, you just cast Hellish Rebuke, and they're like, oh, okay. Unless they just have enough stuff to kill you, then you know, it is what it is. But Rakdos Charm, get to choose any of these 3. I'd say you only get 1 choice for this instant. Exile all cards in the target opponent's library, or not library. That would have been nuts. Exile all cards in target opponent's graveyard. Destroy target artifact or deal 1 damage for each creature that opponent controls. So you can sort of use this and Hellish Rebuke in tandem. Rakdos Charm is just really good. And I think this is more of our board removal here. Reckless Endeavor, you get to roll 2d12, and per each result, let's say you get to choose 1 amount for the amount of damage that it deals, and then the other die amount, you get to choose how much treasure that you create. So you can roll like high and low, where you could do low damage, not wipe your board, but wipe somebody else's board and net a whole bunch of treasure, or deal a whole bunch of damage and earn like a little bit of treasure sort of on the back end to, you know, recast your commander or cast some additional stuff from your hand as well. So really nice. Vandal Blast, pretty self-explanatory. Artifacts are annoying sometimes, and you need to remove a shit ton of them. Blasphemous Act, still like a really cool mass board wipe. I would say mass board wipe at, you know, sort of an asterisk, because it deals 13 damage to each creature, even though that still is a lot. But I'd say sometimes it's not enough to kill even the largest creatures. Then we have just 2 wheel cards. Fateful Showdown deals damage to target creature or player equal to the amount of cards in your hand. Then you get to discard your hand and draw that many. So nice little ping card. And Molten Psyche, each player shuffles their hand into their library and then draws that many cards. And it has the Metalcraft subtext, where if you control 3 or more artifacts, Molten Psyche deals damage to each opponent equals to the amount of cards that they draw this turn. So basically, you get to so if somebody drawn a whole bunch of cards or made everybody draw a whole bunch of cards with Windfall, and and if you have this in the hand, you basically can almost annihilate a whole entire pod from just one single Windfall, which is often funny. Alright, so Alright, so our artifacts. So here it's more of our mana rock. So we got Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Spell Stone, Mind Stone, Talisman of Indulgence, Rakdos Signet, Commander Sphere, because it's always really good to tap and sack. I'd say in for our suspends, but I'd say we have Lotus Bloom. Basically, it's just Black Lotus, but it has a suspend cost for 0. Or if you have a Cascade trigger, you basically play Black Lotus for free, which is nice. Even though regular Black Lotus is for free, but a very budget-friendly version of Black Lotus, I should say. Same thing with Soul Talisman. You get to put 3 suspend counters on it for a single mana, and then I'd say after 3 turns, it comes onto the board, or like I said, you Cascade into it, and there you go. I'd say 2 Soul Rings. Imagine running 2 Soul Rings and a Black Lotus in the deck. That sounds like the most busted deck ever. Alright, and for more of our big damage cards, we have basically 3 of the same cards. So we have Cranial Ram, Cranial Plating, I'd say, and Nettle Cyst, and they all relatively have the same effect. 2 spawn tokens that are germs, and or yeah, about to say 1 spawns a Phyrexian germ. Well, these 2 actually spawn Phyrexian germs, but anyways, where they gain 1 gains X plus 1 equal to the amount of artifacts you control. Nettle Cyst gives +1/+1 for each artifact and enchantment that you have, so it's a little bit more of a buff. And then Cranial Plating is just a +0 for each +1/+0 for each artifact you control, but doesn't spawn a token. So all 3 of these sort of achieve the same thing, or the same end goal, is buffing a singular monster or singular creature. This ain't Yu-Gi-Oh! Get that out of here. I'd say being able to buff a single creature to such a ridiculous amount, or being able to just put this on top of stuff like Marionette Master, and being able to sacrifice treasures and just absolutely nuking stuff. So yeah, those are our 3 equips for that. One fun card to play on people's Chaos Wand. You get to exile the top cards on top of each on top of target player's library until they hit an instant or sorcery. You may play that without paying its cost, and then each other card exiled this way that weren't cast, you can excuse me, you can put them onto the bat, or put them ooh, about to say I'm getting winded there. About to say, then you can put the exile cards that weren't cast this way onto the bottom of their library in any order. So shuffle up the bottom of their library with the crap that they didn't use. For our enchantments, we have Passionate Archaeologist, commander creatures that you control. Whenever you have this subtext, whenever you cast a spell from your exile, this creature deals damage equal to the mana value of that card to the target opponent. So The original idea for this deck was for partner commander, for the Pride event, and the partners in the deck were Madga and Prosper. So what my whole entire thing was, um, basically being able to not only really abuse the whole entire mechanic um, of Passion Archaeologist as well too, but the whole entire format, the formatted structure itself of being able to passively generate treasures, and then for those treasures being able to get large creatures. It was just a really cool combo just altogether. So very expensive too. Share the spoils whenever it enters the battlefield. So here are our three cards that are basically running the same thing. They have sort of kind of the functionality of Prosper without being like Prosper itself. Share the spoils, sort of kind of like Knowledge Pool, but not really as oppressive. Whenever Share the Spoils enters the battlefield, woo, that's scary. Because I forgot to take off that alarm. Like, that's a wake up call. But whenever Share the Spoils enters the battlefield, or an opponent loses the game, exile the top card or opponent's library, or each player's library. During each player's turn, that player may play a land or a spell from amongst those cards with Share the Spoil, and they may spend mana, though, or any mana, to cast that color. And when they do, exile the top card of their library. A really fun card, but they don't have to. But it isn't as oppressive with, such as like with Knowledge Pool, because they're still able to. Everybody's still able to play stuff from their hand. Theater of Horrors. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library during your turn. If an opponent has taken damage this turn, okay. Sorry, about to say I lost train of thought there. I was about to say during your turn. About to say if an opponent has lost life this turn, you may play lands and cast spells amongst those cards exiled with Theater of Horrors. So you have to ping somebody for damage to be able to use this. It does have a ping effect itself. Being able to tap for 4 with 3 and 1 colorless, being able to damage an opponent or a planeswalker. And Furious Right. At the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with 4 or more power, I'd say we have a whole bunch of dragons, so that's gonna be no problem at all. Exile the top card of library. You may play those cards until you exile another card with Furious Rise. So this functions more like Prosper because it has to replace another card under itself. Theater of Horror doesn't. So you could just keep pulling up cards with Theater of Horrors, but with Furious Rise and Prosper you can't, which is sort of kind of unfortunate. And then our last enchantment is Dead Man's Chest. Equip this to target creature your opponent controls. Whenever an enchanted creature dies, exile cards on the top of your equal to its power from the top of its owner's library. You may cast spells amongst them as long as they remain exiles, and you may pay mana as long as if there were any type to cast it. So it's really good. I'd say I used to have Share the Spoils. I used to have a bunch of expensive stuff in this deck, but I had to sell that a long time ago. But it's still like a really good, solid deck all around. But I'd say I really do love playing it. I'd say, and last but not least, it's our land base. So let's get our land base here. So I think if I counted everything right, I'd say it'd be a total of 32 lands. So we have 9 mountains here and 10 swamp. That's it, and that's just for our basics. And for our, I'm making sure that I'm not blasting audio here. Hey, yeah. That'd be Smoldering Marsh for our first dual land. I'd say, and so whenever it enters the battlefield, it comes in tapped unless you have 2 more basic lands. I'd say Foreboding Ruins enters unless you reveal a swamp or a mountain from the hand. Painted Peak is a dual land that doesn't come in tapped and only taps for colorless unless you control a swamp. The Shadow Ridge is basically a signet land. Rakdos Carnarium is a bounce land that taps for a red and a black. Excuse me. Molten Slag Keep, which is our storage land. Then we have 1 Terramorphic Expanse. There's more for utility lands here. We got Reliquary Tower, Mortuary Mire to return a creature from your library on top of the library, or from your graveyard on top of my library. Bajuka Bog to exile somebody's graveyard. Exile Orchard or Exotic Orchard to tap for any mana that opponent controls. Command Tower, say just really good. And then Hidden Volcano, about to say it taps for red, or you can tap 4 colorless and a red, tap it, sacrifice it, and be able to discover for 4. But yeah, about to say that's basically the whole entire gist of the deck. I could probably go over some more combos really fast because I feel like my voice is sort of kind of deteriorating now. So yeah, I'll go over with some quick ones real fast. Because these are gonna be I keep hearing something disconnect and reconnect, and I think it's let's see. That let's say, and I think I'd say I'll just get yeah, because I think that might be sort of kind of it for the combos, but there's like a few more in here. But yeah, a few quick combos as well. I'd say you can use any of these 3 equips here to either attach itself to Steel Hellkite or Marionette Master as well too. But you could also equip it with is Steel Hellkite to do more damage to proc the effective Hellkite more consistently as well too, so you can wipe opponent's boards while having a whole bunch of treasure tokens as well too. Another thing, this I'd say, because this is pumpable, so you can pump this into X amount of times to basically, do quadruple the amount of damage that you can put out easily on a turn. It's basically double, I'd say, but you could easily quadruple it as well too. Marionette Master, you could basically just absolutely snipe somebody for a whole bunch of damage. If you have like a whole bunch of treasures, about to say you sacrifice one, I'd say Nettlecist will see the damage on top of here as well with your 3 counters as well too that you get with your Fabricate as well. Wabo fingies, yeah. Wabo fingies. What's up, Twixie? But that's it for those combos here. I did have Bedevil somewhere. Okay, so the main combo with Bedevil is because these aren't like the only combos. This is like the most consistent combo in here. You have Passionate Archaeologist out with your commander. So since it's out, Passionate Archaeologist is online. Is whenever you cast a spell from exile, you get to deal damage equal to its CMC, converted mana cost, to a target opponent. So you play Fevered Suspicion, which is each opponent exiles the top card of their library until they exile a non-land card. Then you may cast that card, any of those number of those spells this turn, without excuse me, without paying for their mana cost. So you get 3 free spells. You get to deal whatever amount of damage to a target opponent. Then it comes back again since it has a rebound cost as well too. So you can also pair this up, let's say, with, if I can find it, with Chaos Wand as well too. As with Chaos Wand, you could probably do it a little bit more consistently. If you have Chaos Wand with Passionate Archaeologist and you just target a blue player, about to say everybody starts to sweat because they have a whole bunch of very large spells half the time. Same thing with green players, you just start tapping this with this on the board, about to say everybody just starts sweating. About to say any card that has like big ramp, they usually ramp into very large spells, and you start messing with their shit and be able to deal damage equal to the amount how big their shit is that you're messing with. I'd say, yeah, people tend to sweat quite a bit. So it's more of like a, so this deck is more of like a aggro thievy ramp deck, which is a very weird concoction that somehow works better than the deck that I originally built for it. Because I used to have like Share the Spoils and Dockside Extortionist and a whole bunch of other crap and bells and whistles, but this is like the most fun iteration that I've accidentally sort of kind of made for a Pride event that I never went to. And then ended up being like one of my favorite decks of all time. So happy Pride, yay. Happy late Pride. But nah, like yeah, I had like a real fun time building this and a real fun time sleeving this today as well. But how long have we been going on for? Probably for more than I should have today. A little over 2 hours, so a little bit longer than I should have because my voice is getting wrecky pooed. So let me find somebody to raid off into. Like, I really appreciate everybody visiting me again today. So yeah, because I have to figure out what's wrong with my hard drive today as well at some point. So let me try to find a raid target real fast. There's Phoebe. Yo, Minty, we haven't rated Minty in like a hot minute. Alright, so Minty also didn't turn off knocking. They should really do that. So we're gonna raid Minty Mew, and tomorrow we're actually gonna play some Commander with Zag in the gang, and I think Gaz might be playing as well too. So yeah, so we're gonna start raid here in just a second. All right. Thank y'all for joining me today. We really don't have any raid message. Unless you want to do Gabo raid, I'd say that's fine. But I will see you guys here in a second. Bye bye.